Today we are going to make this bouncing platformer game. The object of this game is to collect as many orbs as you can in 20 seconds. And with each orb that you collect, you earn a point. And you can see I just earned 4. That is not quite my high score. But today we are going to make this game together in JavaScript. Let's jump in. I am actually going to start in the blocks section instead of JavaScript because you may remember it is easier to create your tile map in the blocks than it is in JavaScript. You are more than welcome to create that tile map in JavaScript, but I am going to go to the scene category and drag in the set tile map to block. You can see I've already created it here. All you need to do is draw it out, and you may remember that you have all of these blocks already here for you that you can use. I'm using the blocks or the tiles from the dungeon, and then you just draw in the walls where you want your platforms and floor to be. You can see I've already done that. Now I'm going to switch back over to JavaScript because I've created my tile map. We'll do the rest in JavaScript. Let's start off by declaring some variables. Let's create our player1 variable. We'll make that a sprite and we'll set the value to null for now. And then let's create another one here for gem. Another thing that I know we need right off the bat is let's type in info.setScore. We're going to set it to 0, and that will set our score to 0 as soon as we start the game. And then another thing is we're going to start a counter. So info.start countdown, and instead of counting down from 10, let's have it count down from 20. And you could always make this more or less if you wanted to give the player more or less time to finish their game. And let's go ahead and just make our 2 sprites that we have. So let's start with the player sprite. Let's set the value there. So player1 is assigned sprites.create. You've done this so many times, I'm sure you could do this without my help anymore. And image backtick. And we're going to set the sprite kind to player, and then I'm going to click on that palette to choose which character I want. I'm going to make it the ghost. You can make it whatever you want, and I'm going to minimize that right there. Another thing I'm going to do is I know I don't want the player to start in the middle of the screen. I want the player to start kind of up here somewhere. So I will say player1 set position, and I'm going to set it to 30. Now let's create our gem, and let's make the sprite kind food because we are going to be picking it up like food. And I'm going to make mine this cool orb thing that you know I like. I use this in almost all of the games, but you can use whatever you want. And we aren't going to have the orb or the gem start in the middle, but we will work on that code in a minute. We'll come back to that later. Now, I also know we want to be able to control the player, so let's go ahead and type in controller.move sprite, and let's type in the name of our sprite that we want to move. Now, I only want to move on the x-axis, so I'm going to type in 80 for the velocity here, and then 0 for the velocity of the y-axis. That way we can only move left and right, but not up and down. In order to move up and down, I'm actually going to have gravity do the work for us. So I'm going to declare another variable here called gravity, and I'm going to assign it the value of, let's say 200. And you can always mess around with this and change it around as you want to make it stronger or less strong or whatever. And what I'm going to do down here is tell the player1 to have the acceleration on the y value, on the y-axis, and set that to whatever gravity is. So you may be wondering now, wait a minute. I can see what's happening. Gravity is assigned 200, and then we're using gravity, therefore this may as well just say 200, right? So why aren't we just typing in 200 here? Why did we have to create a whole variable? The reason is, let's say we wanted to apply gravity to our gem. Now all we would have to do is write in similar code here and assign it the value of gravity, and the gem and our ghost character would both have gravity applied to it. And if we ever wanted to change the gravity, all we have to do is change one of the values, which is given up here, and not have to go hunt through all the code to try and change both values. It's also kind of nice that our values are kind of stored towards the top and we can find them easily, and then we can just use them throughout the code. So now let's see what that looks like. Okay, now our ghost character falls down. One thing that we need to do though is let's make sure that camera is following us. So scene.camera follow sprite, and then we will say which sprite we want to follow, player1. Okay, now it follows us. Now let's add in the code to make our character bounce. Now a bounce is just going to be applying velocity in the negative y-axis. So let's create another variable here called bounce and assign it the value of, I don't know, -100. Again, you can change that around if you want. And down here, let's add in an event so that we bounce whenever we hit a wall. So scene on hit wall, and that information can be found in here. Right here, you can just drop in the on hit wall event, and let's change around some of these parameter values here. So we are going to say for sprite kind player, we are going to run this code. Now let's add in player1 dot vy, which is the velocity on the y-axis, and let's assign that the value of bounce, just like we did for gravity, where we assigned our acceleration on the y value to gravity. Now let's go ahead and just see what that looks like. Okay, very good. That's looking good. Now, oh wait, those are walls out there, and we are just now stuck on the ceiling. Okay, so maybe we need to add in a conditional statement here so that this little line of code only applies if we hit the left, top, or right side of a wall. But that's complicated. So instead of making 3 conditions, we could say if we hit the wall, as long as it's not the bottom of the wall, in other words, right? So let's go ahead and say, first, let's just come up with this condition of if the player 1 is hitting the tile, and then we'll add in the direction here, and it's the collision direction of the top. Okay, so if we are hitting the top, then we will bounce. Let's just see. Okay, that's not going to do anything because we're hitting right now, this is actually the bottom. That's considered the bottom, and then this edge is considered the top. But what we can do is, you may remember an exclamation point means not. So it's the inverse of whatever this is. So if we are not hitting the top of a wall, then we will bounce. Let's see. Okay, so now if I hit the top, or if we hit the side, then we'll go up. But if we hit the bottom edge, notice how there's no bouncing. We're not stuck at the top like we were before. So this is great. This is exactly what we wanted. So far, so good, but we still, need to be able to get that gem. And right now I notice that the gem is just starting right there in the beginning. So let's work on some code there. We are going to add in a line of code that will randomly place the gem somewhere on the appropriate tiles. So let's type in tiles.place on random tile, and we will say which sprite we want to place randomly. That is the gem. And we want to select the dungeon.dark ground center is the type of tile that we laid out as this purple tile. You may remember how to look through this tile map information. We talked about how to find that, this sprites.dungeon dark ground center. So if you used a different background, then you would hunt through and find the background tile that you used. I used this tile as the background and then the floor light moss as the platforms. So I'm just looking for this code right here, and I put that here to indicate that the gem should be placed randomly on any of these types of tiles. Let's check out to see if that's what happens. Find where it went. Okay, very good. So it went down in the bottom right-hand corner. Let's play again, see if it goes somewhere else. Oh, very good. It went over there that time. And let's see, it should just go randomly. Okay, very good. It went over there. So now we see that the gem goes randomly somewhere on the map. And now let's add in some code so that we can actually pick it up, because right now you can see we can't actually pick it up. And you may remember what code this is. We need to use an onOverlap event. So sprites.onOverlap, and we're going to be looking for the sprite kind flare to overlap the sprite kind food. And let's go ahead and make some music happen whenever this happens. So let's make the bading play. And then let's also change the score. So info.change score by 1. And then we want the gem to go somewhere else. So let's copy this line of code here and paste it in here. Let's see if we are able to pick up that gem. Okay, very good. And you may have noticed that my score went up by 1. Now there's one more thing that I want to do. I want to make it so that when the timer runs out, then the game is over. But I also want to put in a win condition. I want to make it so that if you have collected the gem at least once, then you won. But if you didn't, then you lose. Either way, the game ends. So let's type in if info.score, which is how we're storing this value, is greater than 0, then game over is true. Now that means game over when it's true, then you have won. That value will indicate that you have won. And now let's put an else here. So in other words, if your score is 0, then run game.over, but we're also going to add in a parameter here and we're going to say false. So you have not won. Now you could change this so that you have to get the gem at least 3 times to win or 5 times to win, whatever you would want. It doesn't really matter. That you can customize your game however you want, but let's just see if this actually works. So I've collected the gem now 3 times and I almost am up. Okay, I won. Very good. And that is the game. I hope you had fun making this bounce platform game with me today.